The alarm on the Indomitable's bridge cut through the quiet morning shift like a knife. Captain Lee Taman was drinking coffee and reading reports when Lieutenant Kim Hisu's voice filled the bridge. "Captain, emergency transmission coming in. Coalition frequency, but it's very weak." Taman set down his coffee and moved to the command chair. "Put it through." Static filled the speakers, then a desperate voice broke through. "This is transport ship Mercy's Light. We are under attack." "Repeat, we are under attack. We have civilians on board. Women, children, elderly. Please help us in location?" Taman asked quickly. Lieutenant Bei Sunho worked at his navigation controls. "Grid 77 Alpha, sir. It's in the neutral zone, about 2 hours away at maximum speed. Set course immediately. Maximum warp." Taman turned to his communications officer. "Hisu, try to raise the ship again." More static, then the voice returned, weaker now. 6 Vorthak raiders attacking our convoy. They're targeting our life support systems. We have over 2,000 refugees aboard. Please hurry." Commander Park Ji-won looked up from tactical. "Sir, if we engage Vorthak forces, even in self-defense—" "I know the risks," Taman said. "But we can't let civilians die. Dr. Choi, prepare sick bay for casualties. Jawan, ready all defensive systems, but keep weapons on standby only. We're going in as peacekeepers, not warriors." The Indomitable dropped out of hyperspace 2 hours later to find chaos. 3 Coalition transport ships hung dead in space, their hulls torn open by weapons fire. Emergency pods drifted between the wreckage. 6 Vorthak raiders circled like sharks, firing on anything that moved. "By the stars," whispered Engineer Yoon Nara from her station. "They're shooting at escape pods." Taman's jaw tightened. Attacking escape pods was against every law of war in the galaxy. It was murder, pure and simple. "Haisu, open a channel to all ships." "Channel open, sir." "This is Captain Taman of Earthship Indomitable. All vessels will cease fire immediately. We are here on a humanitarian mission to rescue survivors." The Vorthak raiders stopped their attack and formed up in a line facing the Indomitable. One ship moved forward, larger than the others, painted in deep red with black markings. A new voice came over the radio, cold and arrogant. "Human vessel, I am War Commander Thexara of the Vorthak Crimson Fleet. These coalition dogs were carrying weapons to our enemies. We have the right to destroy them." "War Commander, my scans show only civilian refugees and medical supplies. You are attacking unarmed transports in neutral space." Thexara laughed, a harsh sound that made the bridge crew uncomfortable. "Scans can be fooled, human, but that is not your concern. Leave now and we will pretend this meeting never happened." Taman looked at the escape pods floating helplessly in space. Men, women, children were dying while he talked. "I'm afraid I can't do that, War Commander. Those are innocent people." "Innocent?" Thexara's voice became angry. "No coalition citizen is innocent. They support a government that opposes the Empire. They are all enemies. They are civilians," Taman said firmly. "Children who have never held weapons. Old people who just want to live in peace. If you attack them, you attack the innocent. And Earth will not allow that." There was silence for a moment. Then Thexara spoke again, his voice full of contempt. "Ah yes, Earth the mighty. Earth the neutral. Earth the coward. Your people hide behind words while real warriors fight real wars." Jiwon's hand moved toward her weapons controls, but Taman shook his head slightly. "Not yet. We choose our battles carefully, War Commander," Taman said. "Perhaps you should do the same." "Choose your battles?" Thexara laughed again. "You conquered 3 empires 50 years ago through luck and trickery. You avoid this war because you know you cannot face true warriors like the Vorthak. Your species talks of strength but shows only weakness." Lieutenant Sunho was monitoring the Vorthak communications. "Sir," he whispered, "he's broadcasting this conversation on open channels. Other Vorthak ships are listening." Taman realized what was happening. Thexara was making a show of insulting Earth in front of his people. He was trying to prove that humans were cowards who would back down from a real fight. "War Commander," Taman said calmly, "I'm going to begin rescue operations now. My ship will collect survivors and provide medical aid. You are welcome to observe, but do not interfere." "You dare give me orders?" Thexara's voice became dangerous. "Human, your ship may be advanced, but you are outnumbered 6 to 1. Leave now or face the consequences." Taman looked around his bridge. His crew was ready. They trusted him to make the right decision. "Begin rescue operations," he ordered. "Launch all shuttles. Get those people to safety." The Indomitable moved toward the wreckage, her shuttles spreading out to collect escape pods. The Vorthak raiders watched but did not move. Thexara was testing them, seeing how far he could push before the humans would fight back. Sir, Dr. Choi's voice came over the intercom from sick bay. First shuttle is back. 12 survivors, 3 in critical condition. They're telling me the Vorthak specifically targeted life support and escape systems. This wasn't a military action, it was a massacre. One of the survivors was brought to the bridge. Ambassador So Minji of the Zeltharan Diplomatic Corps was injured but alive. Her blue skin was pale from blood loss, but her eyes burned with anger. Captain, she said weakly, thank you for saving us, but you must know this was not a random attack. Thexara has been hunting refugee convoys for months. He enjoys killing civilians. Why? Taman asked. What does he gain? He believes it will draw Earth into the war, Minji explained. He thinks if he kills enough innocents under your protection, you will finally lose your temper and attack. Then other humans will demand revenge and your neutrality will be broken. Taman felt cold anger building in his chest. Thexara wasn't just a warrior. He was a murderer using innocent people as bait. How many ships has he attacked? 7 that we know of, Minji said. Thousands are dead, and each time he broadcasts his victories to show other Vorthak how weak Earth's protection really is. The rescue operation continued for 3 hours. They saved 800 people, but over 1,200 had died in the attack. As the last shuttle returned, Thexara's voice filled the bridge again. Impressive work, humans. You saved the survivors while the real warriors win the battle. How noble, how pathetic. Taman had heard enough. War Commander, you have violated every law of war in the galaxy today. When this conflict ends, you will answer for your crimes. Crimes? Thexara laughed. I am a warrior of the Empire. I take what I want and kill who I choose. That is the Vorthak way. But you humans would not understand. You are too soft, too weak to do what must be done. Perhaps, Taman said quietly. But we sleep well at night. Sleep is for the weak. I will remember this day, Captain Taman. I will remember how Earth's great ship ran from a real fight. And I will make sure the galaxy remembers too. The Vorthak ships formed up and jumped to hyperspace, leaving the Indomitable alone with the wreckage and survivors. Taman stood in the silence that followed, knowing that something had changed today. Thexara had made it personal. Captain, G1 said softly, we could have stopped him. The Indomitable could have destroyed his entire squadron. Yes, Taman agreed, but then we would be no better than him. The moment we choose violence over mercy, we become what we fight against. Ambassador Minji was still on the bridge being treated by a medic. She looked at Taman with respect and sadness. Captain, I understand your principles, but Thexara will kill more innocents. How many must die for your neutrality? It was a question that would haunt Taman for weeks to come. As the Indomitable carried its cargo of survivors toward safety, he wondered if there might come a time when neutrality itself became a form of evil, when choosing not to act was the same as choosing to let atrocities continue. But for now, 800 people were alive who would have died without Earth's intervention. That had to be enough. Captain Lee Taman stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable, watching the stars through the main view screen. 3 years had passed since the Hegemony Wars began, and the galaxy was burning. Every day brought news of new battles, destroyed worlds, and millions of dead. Yet here in the neutral zone, space looked peaceful. The stars did not care about the war that raged between them. Captain, incoming message from Earth Command, said Lieutenant Kim Hisu from her communication station. Her voice was calm, but Taman could hear the stress underneath. Everyone felt it these days. The weight of staying neutral while the galaxy tore itself apart. Put it through, Taman replied. He straightened his uniform and faced the main screen. Admiral Ko Hyunwoo appeared, his weathered face showing the strain of commanding Earth's forces during these dark times. Captain Taman, I have new orders for you. A coalition supply convoy is requesting safe passage through your sector. They're carrying medical supplies to Kepler Station. You're to escort them to the border and ensure they reach safety. Taman nodded. Understood, Admiral. Any Vorthak activity in the area? Intelligence reports 3 Vorthak patrol ships in nearby space. They haven't violated the neutral zone, but be careful. The Empire is getting bolder lately. The transmission ended, leaving Taman alone with his thoughts. Commander Park Ji-won approached from the tactical station. She was his second in command and had served with him for 5 years. If anyone could understand his concerns, it was her. Another escort mission, Ji-won said quietly. How long can we keep doing this, Captain? Watching from the sidelines while people die? Taman looked at her. Park Ji-won had lost her brother in the early days of the war. He had been serving on a research station when Vorthak forces attacked it. The Empire claimed it was an accident, but everyone knew better. Still, Earth maintained its neutral position. "We do what we must," Taman said. "Earth's decision to stay neutral isn't weakness, Jiwan. It's wisdom. If we enter this war, it won't end until half the galaxy is dead." Dr. Choi Minho looked up from his medical reports. The chief medical officer had been treating wounded refugees for months. His sickbay was always full of people from both sides of the conflict. "The captain is right," he said. "I've seen what this war does to people, the hatred it creates. If Earth joins either side, it will only make things worse." Engineer Yoon Nara walked onto the bridge, wiping grease from her hands. She had been working on the ship's engines all morning. "Both sides keep asking when we'll pick a side," she said. "The Coalition thinks we should join them because we believe in freedom. The Vorthak think we should join them because we're strong warriors. Neither understands that we can be both free and strong without choosing war." Lieutenant Bae Sun-ho turned from his navigation console. He was the youngest officer on the bridge, barely 25 years old. "Sir, the convoy is approaching our position. 12 ships, mostly cargo vessels with 2 Coalition escorts. Take us to meet them," Taman ordered. "Standard escort formation." The Indomitable moved through space with the grace of a predator. She was Earth's newest battleship, equipped with technology that made her more powerful than any ship in either fleet. Yet she carried no weapons of mass destruction. Earth had learned long ago that true strength came from knowing when not to use power. As they approached the convoy, Hiesu received another transmission. "Captain, Coalition Admiral Vexathari wants to speak with you." The alien admiral appeared on screen. Her blue skin and 4 arms marked her as Eltharan, one of the Coalition's founding species. "Captain Taman, thank you for the escort. My ships carry medicine that will save thousands of lives." "Just doing our job, Admiral," Taman replied. "We'll see you safely to the border." "Captain, if I may ask," the Admiral paused. "Why doesn't Earth join us? Your people fought 3 empires 50 years ago and won. You could end this war in months." It was a question Taman heard often. 50 years ago, 3 alien empires had tried to enslave human colonies. Earth's response had been swift and terrible. The Terran Liberation Wars lasted only 2 years. But when they ended, those 3 empires no longer existed, not destroyed. Simply convinced that leaving humans alone was better than facing their anger again. "Admiral, we won those wars because we had no choice," Taman said. "Our people were enslaved. We fought for survival. This war is different. This is about power and territory. Earth will not shed blood for conquest." The Admiral nodded, though she looked disappointed. "I understand, Captain. Still, it is hard to watch evil triumph while good people stand aside." "Evil isn't triumphing," Taman said firmly. "It's destroying itself." "Both sides are losing this war, Admiral. Every battle makes them weaker. Every victory costs more than they can afford. Eventually, they'll have to make peace." The convoy moved through space at a steady pace. Taman watched the stars and thought about the war. He had read every intelligence report, studied every battle. The Vorthak Empire was strong but brutal. They conquered worlds and enslaved populations. The Coalition fought for freedom, but sometimes their methods were just as harsh as their enemies. "Captain," Jiwan said from Tactical, "I'm picking up 3 ships on long-range sensors. Vorthak design. They're keeping their distance but following us." "Let them watch," Taman said. "As long as they don't interfere with the convoy, we ignore them." Hours passed peacefully. The convoy made good time toward the border. Then Sun-ho called out from navigation. "Sir, the Vorthak ships are moving." "They're intercepting the convoy's path." "Battle stations," Taman ordered. The bridge lights dimmed to red as the crew prepared for possible combat. "Hisu, open a channel to the Vorthak ships." "Channel open, sir." "Vorthak vessels, this is Captain Taman of Earthship Indomitable. You are approaching a neutral convoy under our protection. State your intentions." The response came from a harsh voice speaking accented English. "Human ship, I am Commander Drakmon of the Crimson Fleet. These Coalition dogs carry weapons to kill Vorthak warriors. We will inspect their cargo." "Negative, Commander. This convoy carries only medical supplies. You have no right to stop them in neutral space. We have the right of strength, human. Move aside or be moved." Jiwan looked at her captain. Her hand was ready on the weapons controls. The Indomitable could destroy all 3 Vorthak ships in minutes. But that would mean war. Earth would be dragged into the conflict that had already killed billions. "Commander Drakmon," Taman said calmly, "if you attack this convoy, you attack Earth." Are you prepared for that consequence? There was a long silence. Then the Vorthak commander spoke again. We withdraw, human. But remember, Earth cannot protect everyone. Someday you will have to choose a side. The 3 Vorthak ships turned away and disappeared into hyperspace. The convoy continued safely to the border. Another crisis avoided. Another day of peace maintained. But as Taman watched the stars, he wondered how long Earth could keep walking this narrow path between war and peace. The galaxy was full of beings who saw neutrality as weakness. Sooner or later, someone would push too hard. Someone would make the mistake of challenging Earth directly. When that day came, the galaxy would remember why humans chose peace. Not from fear, but from mercy. 3 weeks had passed since the refugee convoy massacre, but War Commander Thexara was not finished with his games. Reports came in daily of his attacks on civilian targets, always just outside Earth's patrol routes, always broadcast across Vorthak space as proof of human weakness. Captain Lee Taman stood in the briefing room of the Indomitable, studying intelligence reports with his senior staff. The holographic display showed a map of the neutral zone with red markers indicating Thexara's recent attacks. 17 civilian ships destroyed in 3 weeks, Commander Park Ji-won said, her voice tight with controlled anger. Over 3,000 dead, all of them refugees or humanitarian workers. Dr. Choi Min-ho looked at the casualty reports, and we're treating more survivors every day. But the psychological damage is getting worse. These people are losing hope. Engineer Yoon Nara pulled up communications intercepts. Sir, Thexara's broadcasts are having an effect. More Vorthak commanders are starting to question Earth's neutrality. They're calling us cowards who hide behind words. Lieutenant Kim Hee-soo turned from her station. Captain, incoming priority message from Earth Command. Admiral Ko Hyun-woo appeared on the main screen, his expression grim. Captain Taman, I have disturbing news. War Commander Thexara has escalated his campaign. He's taken hostages. The display changed to show a peaceful world covered in blue oceans and green continents. Kepler Prime, the Admiral continued. It's a neutral archaeological site. 12 species have researchers there studying ancient ruins. Yesterday, Thexara's fleet surrounded the planet and landed troops. Taman felt his stomach drop. Casualties, sir? None yet. He's not interested in killing them. He wants to use them. Captain, he's issued a formal challenge. A challenge? Admiral Hyun-woo nodded grimly. Under ancient Vorthak honor codes, he's demanding single combat. Ship against ship, warrior against warrior. If his champion wins, Earth must join the hegemony wars under Vorthak command. If we win, he releases the hostages and withdraws from the neutral zone. Lieutenant Bae Sun-ho looked confused. But sir, that's impossible. We can't abandon our neutrality for a single madman. It's not that simple, Admiral Hyun-woo explained. The Vorthak honor codes are recognized throughout the galaxy. If we refuse the challenge, it will be seen as cowardice. Our reputation as protectors will be destroyed. No one will trust Earth's word again. Ji-won slammed her fist on the table. This is insane. One maniac is trying to drag us into a war that's killed billions. Who are the hostages? Taman asked. 43 researchers from 12 different species, the Admiral replied, including Dr. Han Jae-ho from Seoul University and Captain Ryu So-young of the U.S. Pioneer. She was providing security for the expedition. Taman knew both officers personally. Dr. Han was a brilliant archaeologist who had discovered 3 lost civilizations. Captain Ryu was a decorated officer who had served with honor for 15 years. They didn't deserve to die for Thexara's twisted games. What are our options? Taman asked. The unified government is meeting now, Admiral Hyun-woo said. But the choice is simple. Accept the challenge or watch our reputation crumble. Either way, Earth's neutrality may be ending. The transmission ended, leaving the senior staff in heavy silence. Taman walked to the viewport and stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, good people were prisoners because a madman wanted to prove that humans were weak. Captain, Dr. Choi said quietly, what if we're wrong? What if neutrality isn't strength? What if it's just another word for letting evil win? It was the question that had been haunting Taman since the refugee massacre. How many innocent people would die while Earth maintained its principles? At what point did neutrality become complicity? Sir, Hee-soo called out, incoming transmission. It's from Kepler Prime. Put it through. The main screen flickered to life, showing a Vorthak command center filled with prisoners. In the center stood War Commander Thexara, his scarred face twisted in a cold smile. Behind him, the hostages sat on the floor, guarded by armed soldiers. "Greetings, humans," Thexara said mockingly. "I trust you have received my challenge by now. These soft-skinned scholars make interesting guests, don't they?" One of the hostages was pushed forward, Captain Ryu Soyoung. Her uniform was torn and she had a cut on her forehead, but her eyes burned with defiance. "Captain Taman, don't listen to him. He's a coward who hides behind innocence." A Vorthak guard raised his weapon, but Thexara waved him back. "Let her speak. Let all the galaxy hear how Earth's officers face their fate. We knew the risks when we put on the uniform," Captain Ryu continued. "Earth's principles are worth more than our lives. Don't sacrifice everything for us." Dr. Han Jeho was pushed forward next. The elderly archaeologist looked frail but determined. "Captain, we were so close to a breakthrough here. The ruins show how 12 species lived in peace for 1,000 years. That knowledge could help end this war. But Thexara would rather destroy than learn." Thexara grabbed Dr. Han by the shirt and lifted him off the ground. "Peace is weakness, old man. Only the strong deserve to rule, and soon the galaxy will see that Earth is not strong enough to protect even its own people." He threw Dr. Han back to the ground and faced the camera directly. "I, War Commander Thexara of the Crimson Fleet, challenge the warriors of Earth to single combat. Choose your best ship and your best captain. We will meet in the Nexus Arena in 3 days. If I win, Earth bends the knee to the Empire. If you win, which you will not, I release these prisoners and withdraw from this sector. And if we refuse?" Taman asked. Thexara smiled coldly. "Then I execute one prisoner every 6 hours until you change your mind. The galaxy will watch Earth's protectors abandon innocent people to save their own skins." The transmission cut off, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Taman realized that Thexara had planned this perfectly. Accept the challenge and risk breaking neutrality forever. Refuse and watch 43 people die while the galaxy lost faith in Earth's protection. "Captain," Jiwan said, "there has to be another way." "Is there?" Taman asked. "He's using our own principles against us. Our desire to protect the innocent, our respect for galactic law, our reputation as peacekeepers. He knows we can't let those people die." Yun Nara looked up from her console. "Sir, I'm monitoring Vorthak communications. Thexara's challenge is being broadcast across their space. Other commanders are watching to see what we do." "And the coalition?" Taman asked. "They're staying silent," Hisu reported. "Officially, they can't ask us to break neutrality. But I'm seeing encrypted messages from their leadership. They want us to accept the challenge." Sunho turned from his navigation station. "Sir, if we fight and win, won't that just make things worse? Other Vorthak commanders will want revenge?" "Maybe," Taman said. "But if we refuse, they'll see us as weak. They'll think they can push us around whenever they want. More Thexaras will appear, taking more hostages, killing more civilians." A new transmission came in, this time from Earth. Admiral Hyunwoo appeared again, but he wasn't alone. Behind him stood the Secretary General of the Unified Government and the heads of all Earth's military branches. "Captain Taman," the Secretary General said, "after 6 hours of debate, we've reached a decision. We're accepting Thexara's challenge, but with modifications." "Modifications, sir?" "We're not fighting for dominance or alliance," Admiral Hyunwoo explained. "We're fighting for justice. If our champion wins, Thexara stands trial for war crimes. If he wins, he gets his hostages and we maintain neutrality, but Earth's reputation as protector will be finished." The Secretary General stepped forward. "Captain Otajan of the UES Retribution has volunteered to be our champion. He's a veteran of the Liberation Wars and the best tactical officer in the fleet." Taman knew Captain O personally. He was a quiet man who rarely smiled, but in combat he was absolutely deadly. If anyone could face Thexara and win, it was him. "The duel will take place in the Nexus Arena as requested," Admiral Hyunwoo continued. "Representatives from dozens of species will witness the battle. Captain, Earth needs you to escort the diplomatic observers. This may be the most important day in our history." As the transmission ended, Taman looked around at his crew. They had served together through 3 years of careful neutrality, watching the galaxy burn while keeping their principles intact. Now all of that might end in a single battle between 2 ships. "Set course for the Nexus Arena," he ordered, "and pray that Captain O is as good as we think he is." The Nexus Arena was unlike anything in known space. Ancient asteroids hung in perfect formation around a massive dead star, creating a natural amphitheater that had witnessed single combat for over 1 million years. Ships from dozens of species surrounded the arena, all there to watch Earth face its greatest test. Captain Lee Taman stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the gathering fleet through his main screen. Vorthak warships painted in crimson and black floated alongside coalition vessels in silver and blue. Even neutral species had sent observers. The entire galaxy wanted to see if Earth's reputation was real or just clever propaganda. "Sir," Lieutenant Kim Hee-soo reported, "I count over 200 ships. Every major species in the galaxy is represented." Commander Park Ji-won studied the tactical display. The Vorthak brought their entire Crimson Fleet, 50 warships including their flagship Dominator. "They're not taking any chances. They're not here to fight," Taman said. "They're here to watch us lose. Thexara wants the galaxy to see Earth humiliated." Lieutenant Bae Sunho looked up from navigation. "Captain, the UES Retribution is approaching. She'll be in position in 10 minutes, Taman nodded. Captain Otajan had arrived exactly on schedule. The Retribution was Earth's most advanced warship, smaller than the Indomitable but faster and more maneuverable. If any human ship could win this fight, it was her. "Incoming transmission from the Retribution," Hayasu announced. Captain Otajan appeared on screen. He was a man of average height with graying hair and calm brown eyes. Nothing about him looked impressive or dangerous. That was his greatest weapon. Enemies always underestimated him. "Captain Taman," O said in his quiet voice. "Status report on the situation?" "All observers are in position," Taman replied. "Thexara's ship Bloodfang is holding position at the center of the arena. The hostages are aboard his flagship with the rest of his fleet. And the rules of engagement? Ancient Vorthak combat codes. Single ship duel to the death or surrender. No outside interference allowed. Winners take all." O nodded slowly. "Understood. Have there been any attempts at negotiation?" Engineer Yoon Nara looked up from her console. "Sir, Ambassador So Minji tried to speak with Thexara this morning. He refused to listen. He wants this fight, then he'll get it," O said simply. "Captain Taman, I want you to know, if I don't survive this, Earth's neutrality must continue. Don't let my death be an excuse for war." "You're not going to die," Taman said firmly. "You're the best tactical officer in the fleet." O smiled slightly. "Thexara has been fighting wars his entire life. He's killed more enemies than most people have ever seen. Don't underestimate him just because he's cruel." The transmission ended, leaving Taman alone with his doubts. Captain O was skilled, but the Bloodfang was twice the size of the Retribution. Vorthak ships were built for war, with massive weapons and heavy armor. Earth ships were built for exploration and defense. "Captain," Dr. Choi Minho's voice came over the intercom. "I have Ambassador Minji here. She insists on speaking with you before the duel begins. Send her up." Ambassador Minji arrived on the bridge a few minutes later. The Zeltheron diplomat looked tired and worried. She had been working frantically to prevent this fight, but Thexara would not be reasoned with. "Captain Taman," she said urgently, "there has to be another way. This is exactly what Thexara wants. Earth forced into violence." "I know," Taman replied, "but 43 people will die if we don't fight. That's more violence than any duel could cause. But if Captain O loses, Earth will be forced to join the war. Millions more will die." Taman looked at her seriously. "Ambassador, do you really think Earth would honor such an agreement? Do you think we would abandon our principles because of one madman's challenge?" Minji paused, considering his words. "No," she said slowly. "Earth would find another way. But the galaxy doesn't know that. They'll see you as oathbreakers if you refuse to honor the terms. Then we'll have to make sure Captain O wins." A new alarm sounded across the bridge. All ship," came a broadcast voice. "The duel will begin in 1 hour. Combatants will take position at opposite ends of the arena. May the strongest warrior prevail." Taman watched as the Bloodfang moved into position. The massive Vorthak warship bristled with weapons. Plasma cannons that could crack moons, quantum torpedoes, particle beam arrays. Its armor was thick enough to withstand direct hits from most weapons in the galaxy. The Retribution moved to her starting position on the opposite side of the arena. She looked tiny compared to the Bloodfang, like a minnow facing a shark. But Taman knew that appearances could be deceiving. Earth's ships had advantages that most species couldn't imagine. "Final transmission from Captain O," Hayasu announced. O appeared on screen one last time. Behind him, his bridge crew was busy with final preparations. Commander Lim Dayun checked weapons systems. Lieutenant Song Minji ran engine diagnostics. Chief Petty Officer Kang Jisoo monitored power distribution. They all knew what was at stake. "Attention all observers," O said, his voice carrying across every ship in the arena. "Today, War Commander Thexara learns why Earth chooses peace, not from weakness but because our strength is terrible to behold." He paused, looking directly into the camera. "Earth stayed out of this war because we believe in something greater than conquest. But when innocents suffer and honor is challenged, humanity does not stand aside." The transmission ended. Across the arena, Thexara's voice boomed from the Bloodfang speakers. "Brave words from a doomed man." The war commander laughed. "I have destroyed 100 ships and killed 1,000 warriors. This human will be just another trophy for my collection." Ambassador Minji gripped the bridge railing.
"Captain, is there really no other way?"
Taman watched the two ships facing each other across the ancient arena. "Ambassador, 50 years ago Earth fought 3 empires to free our enslaved colonies. We won those wars not because we were stronger, but because we were fighting for something that mattered more than victory. Today Captain O fights for the same thing, the right of innocent people to live free from terror. Combat, beginning in 60 seconds, the arena announcer declared. Thexara's voice filled the communication channels one last time. "Humans, watch your champion die. Watch your reputation crumble. Then join the Empire and learn what real strength looks like." Captain O's response was calm and quiet. "War Commander, you mistake cruelty for strength. You confuse fear for respect. Today you learn the difference. 30 seconds to combat." Every ship in the arena fell silent. Hundreds of thousands of beings held their breath as 2 ships prepared to decide the fate of galactic neutrality. 10 seconds. Taman closed his eyes and said a silent prayer. Not for victory, victory was just an outcome. He prayed for justice, for an end to Thexara's reign of terror, for a galaxy where innocence could live without fear. Combat begins now. The Bloodfang opened fire immediately, its massive guns lighting up space with deadly energy. The Retribution disappeared in a blaze of explosions and plasma fire. For a moment, it seemed like the fight was already over. Then the smoke cleared, and the Retribution emerged completely undamaged. She hadn't moved fast enough to dodge the attack. She had simply let it pass through her. The arena fell silent as every observer tried to understand what they had just witnessed. Even Thexara seemed stunned. "Impossible," he whispered over the open channel. Captain O's voice was still calm. "War Commander, you're fighting with weapons designed to destroy matter. We learned long ago to manipulate space itself. Your attacks cannot touch what isn't entirely real. The real battle was just beginning." And for the first time in his life, War Commander Thexara felt afraid. The silence in the Nexus arena was broken by War Commander Thexara's roar of rage. The Bloodfang's weapons powered up again, this time firing a continuous barrage that lit up space like a miniature star. Plasma cannons, quantum torpedoes, and particle beams all focused on the small Earth ship. Captain Lee Taman watched from the Indomitable as the Retribution moved through the deadly storm of energy like it was nothing more than colored lights. The ship seemed to flicker in and out of reality, sometimes solid, sometimes translucent, always untouchable. "How is that possible?" Ambassador So Minji whispered from beside him on the bridge. "Phase shifting," Commander Park Jiwon explained quietly. "Captain O is moving his ship slightly out of normal space-time. The weapons can't hit what isn't entirely there." Lieutenant Bae Sunho studied his sensors in amazement. "The energy readings are incredible. The Retribution isn't just dodging. She's existing in multiple dimensions at once." On the other side of the arena, Thexara's confusion turned to fury. "Coward!" he screamed over the communication channels. "Face me like a true warrior." Captain O's reply was calm and patient. "War Commander, I am facing you. But I choose the terms of that confrontation. You've spent your life believing that the biggest gun wins every fight. Today you learn that intelligence beats brute force." The Bloodfang changed tactics, launching dozens of seeking missiles that spread out in all directions. These weren't aimed at where the Retribution was. They were programmed to find where she would be. But even this didn't work. The missiles passed harmlessly through empty space as the Earth ship continued its impossible dance between dimensions. "Sir," Lieutenant Kim Haisu reported from communications, "I'm monitoring transmissions from observer ships. The Vorthak fleet is demanding an explanation from Thexara. They can't understand what's happening." Engineer Yoon Nara looked up from her console with a grim smile. Neither can the coalition forces. Or the neutral observers. Everyone thought they knew Earth's capabilities. but we've never shown this in public before. Dr. Choi Minho entered the bridge, having left his medical station to watch the battle. Captain, how long can the Retribution maintain phase shifting? It must require enormous energy. That's the beauty of it, Taman replied. Captain O isn't fighting the laws of physics, he's using them. Phase shifting takes very little power once you understand how space-time really works. The battle continued for another hour, with Thexara trying everything in his arsenal. He launched electromagnetic pulse weapons, gravity bombs, even experimental dark matter torpedoes. Nothing touched the Retribution. The Earthship moved like a ghost, appearing and disappearing at will. Then Captain O decided it was time to end the demonstration. War, Commander. His voice echoed across the arena. You've shown the galaxy your strength. Now let me show you ours. The Retribution suddenly became solid and visible, hanging motionless in space directly in front of the Bloodfang. For a moment, Thexara thought he finally had a clear shot. He fired everything he had at point-blank range. The weapon struck the Retribution's shields and simply stopped. Not deflected, not absorbed, stopped. The energy hung in space like frozen lightning, beautiful and terrifying. Temporal shields, Captain O explained calmly. We've slowed down time around our ship. Your weapons are still hitting us, they're just taking several hours to do it from our perspective. We have plenty of time to decide what to do with all that energy. Lieutenant Song Minjae's voice came over the channel from the Retribution's bridge. Captain, all weapon systems are charged and ready. Target locks acquired on every vital system aboard the Bloodfang. Commander Lim Da-hyun added her report. Sir, we could disable their weapons, engines, life support, and communications with surgical precision. No casualties required. Chief Petty Officer Kang Jisoo completed the picture. All their energy is now under our control. We could redirect their own weapons back at them or simply disperse it harmlessly. Captain O considered his options while the galaxy watched. War Commander Thexara, your ship is helpless. Your weapons cannot harm us, but ours can destroy you completely. However, Earth doesn't solve problems through destruction when other methods exist. What do you want? Thexara asked, his voice much quieter now. I want you to understand something, O replied. For 50 years, Earth has chosen peace not because we fear war, but because we understand its true cost. We stayed neutral in this galactic conflict not from weakness, but from wisdom. The frozen energy around the Retribution began to move again, but instead of striking the Earthship, it dispersed harmlessly into space. The demonstration of control was absolute. You called us cowards, O continued. But there is no courage in fighting when you know you cannot lose. There is only cruelty. True courage is choosing mercy when you have the power to destroy. Thexara's voice was barely a whisper. What are you? We're what every species in this galaxy could become, O said simply. If they chose wisdom over violence, understanding over hatred, patience over pride. The Retribution moved closer to the disabled Bloodfang. Captain O's next words carried to every ship in the arena. War Commander, I could destroy your ship and scatter your atoms across space. Instead, I offer you a choice. Surrender now. Release your hostages and face justice for your crimes. Accept that strength without wisdom is just another form of weakness. For long minutes, space was silent except for the hum of engines and the whisper of cosmic radiation. Finally, Thexara spoke. I surrender. The words echoed across hundreds of ships and billions of listeners throughout the galaxy. The most feared warrior in the Vorthek Empire, the commander who had never lost a battle, was surrendering to a ship half the size of his own. All hostages will be released immediately. Thexara continued. I submit to galactic justice. Captain O's response was immediate and gracious. Thank you, War Commander. Your courage in accepting defeat with honor proves that even enemies can choose wisdom. The arena erupted in communications as every observer ship tried to report the impossible event they had just witnessed. The Vorthak Crimson Fleet, leaderless and shocked, began withdrawing without their commander. Coalition forces cheered, but quietly, unsure of what Earth's demonstration meant for the future of warfare. Ambassador Minji stared at the main screen in amazement. Captain Taman, what happens now? The galaxy has seen Earth's true power. Won't that change everything? Taman nodded slowly. Yes, it will. But not in the way most people think. We haven't shown them a new weapon. We've shown them a new possibility. A way to win without destroying your enemy. Over the next few hours, the hostages were safely transferred from the Bloodfang to waiting rescue ships. Dr. Han Jae-ho and Captain Ryu So-young were among the first to be freed. Both looked shaken but unharmed. War Commander Thexara was taken into custody by Coalition forces to await trial for war crimes. As he was led away, he stopped and looked back at the Retribution. "Captain O," he called out over the communication channel. "I have one question. Why didn't you kill me? I would have killed you without hesitation." Captain O's answer became one of the most quoted phrases in galactic history. "War Commander, that's exactly why you lost. The moment you choose to become a monster, you give up the right to call yourself a warrior." The battle in the Nexus arena ended the Hegemony Wars within 6 months. Both the Vorthak Empire and the Coalition realized that continuing their conflict was pointless, when beings existed who could stop any war simply by choosing to do so. Peace negotiations began immediately. Earth returned to its policy of neutrality. But now the galaxy understood what that neutrality really meant. It wasn't the peace of the weak. It was the peace of those who had transcended the need for war itself. Captain O. Tajin received the Galactic Medal of Honor, but in his acceptance speech he reminded everyone of the real lesson. Today we showed our strength. Tomorrow we hope the galaxy chooses to show its wisdom. Years later, when historians wrote about the end of the Hegemony Wars, they would mark the Battle of Nexus Arena as the moment when civilization itself evolved, not because Earth had revealed new weapons, but because they had demonstrated that true power lies in choosing not to use the power you possess. War Commander Thexara served his sentence and eventually became an advocate for peace, traveling the galaxy to speak about the futility of violence against beings who had learned to manipulate reality itself. He often ended his speeches with the same words. "I thought I was challenging Earth's weakness. Instead, I discovered my own." The Retribution returned to her patrol route, maintaining the peace that Earth had chosen to protect. And across the galaxy, beings looked up at the stars and wondered what other wonders awaited a universe that had finally learned the difference between strength and wisdom.